Okay, so let me tell you about a real life encounter that I have had where a person attacked me, not physically, of course, but verbally attacked me because I am child free and I'm not having kids. I actually have a lot of encounters that I can tell you about. I guess I can tell you about the first one that I really recall was I was a martial arts instructor when I was a teenager, and I remember I was teaching my class, of all my students, and one of the parents of the student said something like, "Oh, you're so good with kids, you're gonna be a great parent one day." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, but I don't think I want to have kids." And then they went on this entire tangent about how I'm so young, I don't know anything, I'm just a teenager, I'll change my mind, blase, blase, blah. Like, that's like the earliest one that I can remember. Another encounter I've had was at the store with just a random cashier person. So my sister told us that she was pregnant, so I was like, oh my god, yay, I'm gonna be an auntie. I can't wait to spoil my niece or nephew because it was the firstborn and we didn't know what it was yet. So I went to the store and I bought a bunch of baby stuff for my niece. And I was at the register and the lady was like, "Oh, how far along are you?" I was like, "Oh, this isn't for me. This is for my sister. Like, my sister's having a baby." And she was like, "Oh, well, just wait till it's your turn." And I just told her, I was like, "Oh, no, I don't think that's for me. I'm cool just being an auntie." And again, went on a tangent. "Oh, you're young. You'll change your mind. Kids are a blessing. You don't know, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "Yo, I don't know you. Can you just check me out so I can leave?" Another encounter I can tell you about was actually at my previous job. There is this guy there. I hate him. I genuinely, probably like the worst coworker I've ever had in my life. Genuinely, I hate him. But that's like a story for another day. But anyway, he was the type of guy that would talk shit about his kids constantly. Apparently he had 6 kids. They were all no contact with him, and he always talked about how much he just hated his kids. But in then the same breath would look at me and be like, "Oh, just wait till you have kids, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "No, I'm not having kids." And it would turn into like a literal every single day, every single time he saw me, he had to make some sort of comment. I think the weirdest one that he said to me was, I had just gotten married, and he was like, "Oh, you're married now, you're gonna start trying for kids?" Bro, that's weird. And then like I would come to work and he'd be like, "Oh, are you pregnant yet? Oh, were you trying to get pregnant?" And I'm like, "Dude, you're so weird." And it's like I would ask him to stop, he wouldn't stop. I had to go to my supervisor. They really couldn't do anything about it, so I ended up quitting that job. Then at my current job, another encounter I had again with another coworker was, so a little bit of backstory. So my job has this like bring your baby to work program where you can bring your baby from, I want to say like from like 3 months to a year, or 3 months until they're crawling, or whichever one comes first, whatever. And so my coworker, she was bringing her baby to work. Cool. I was fine with that. And then randomly she was like, "Hey, I have to go run and do something. Would you mind just keeping an eye on her?" She was, and the baby was asleep in her little baby cage thing. I don't know. And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, you're good to go. She's fine. Yeah, go." And then another coworker, a man, comes over and just, kind of looks at the baby. And I'm just kind of looking at him, looking at the baby. And then he looks at me. He goes, "Oh, just wait till it's your turn. Just wait till you're going to bring a baby to work." And then I just looked at him. I was like, "I can't have kids. I'm sterilized." But he didn't know that. And then he just looked at me. He was like, "I'm sorry." And then just awkwardly shoveled away. So that is just a few real life encounters that I have had with people where they have to say something to me because I'm child free.